All right, so thanks guys for being here tonight on Team Forever Strong's weekly team call. It is September 29th. We have 2 days left in the month, and tonight we have a special guest speaker on, Kim Carver from Corporate, and he is amazing. So I'll tell you a little bit about him after we do a little bit of recognition. So I want to start off with, if there were any rank advancements this week, any Emerald coaches, unmute yourself and shout them out. Anybody? Oh, Courtney right there. Can you unmute it, or do you want me to do it for you? Let me do it for you. Oh, there we go.
Hi, guys. I'm on my phone. I never do this on my phone, so I don't even know how to work it, but I want to, you keep falling over. I want to shout out Taylor because she's a new Emerald coach this week, and she's doing awesome. She just started like not even 3 weeks ago, so she's doing amazing. So,
wow, that's awesome. Congratulations. You're doing amazing. Keep it up.
Okay, now you have to mute me again because I don't know how to do it.
I'll do it. Don't worry. All right. Are there any other Emeralds or any other rank advancements this week that anybody wants to shout out? Nope. All right. Well, I wanted to give a special shout out to one of our coaches, Kim Fourtner, who is a Success Club 5 All-Star. And this is amazing, guys. If you are a brand new coach, we have a lot of brand new coaches on this team. What that means is that she has helped 3 people and hit Success Club 5 every single month for 12 consecutive months. And that's an amazing, amazing achievement. There's been about 5 people on this entire team of 1,500 coaches who have done that so far. And she is one of them. She is a total rock star. And I remember the very first time I talked to her on the phone, she had big goals. She had a long-term vision, and she made it a non-negotiable, made it a priority to hit Success Club and help those 3 people every month. And she has done exactly just that. So that means her business is growing. She's having success. Her coaches are having success, and she's being really consistent, and it is paying off. So congratulations to Kim. I am so proud of you. Keep it up. Moving on to legends next. All right. So I don't want to take away too much time, but we have a guest speaker tonight. Kim Carver from Corporate is here. Now, a lot of you girls who were at our Luxury Diamond Retreat in May had the honor to meet him and work with him and get to have one-on-ones with him. And he's just, seriously, guys, he's the best. He's so inspiring. He's motivating. He's one of those mentors where he knows exactly what to say to help you. And tonight, he is here with us, giving up his time to inspire this team. And this,
Kathy, you're not doing a very good job of keeping these expectations low. Come on now.
I know. You don't need your notebooks. He's probably not going to say anything major important.
There you go. Now I'm more comfortable with this.
So I'm going to hand it over to Kim. And thank you so much again for taking the time out of your night to be here. I know how busy you are, and it really means a lot to our team. So
yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Honestly, it is. It was something that we've had on the calendar for a little bit now, and I was looking forward to it. I've been thinking about it kind of throughout the day, and hopefully tonight we'll have some things that we can share with everybody to help them take these next steps. Those of you that have talked to me before know I'm a big believer in that. Really, just kind of you got to the secret to really growing. Not even this. I don't even like that word. The key. One of the keys to growing is to really just focus on next steps. Sometimes when we look at the totality of the journey, it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. One of the ways that I guess the things that has taught me that is something that I'm actually going through right now, and that's kind of where I want to start tonight. The challenge with this, though, a little bit, as I set the context here, is all of you are at probably different places in your business. Some of you are in similar places, but all of you are in different places, and all of your next steps are probably a little bit unique to you. And so there really isn't, the desire that you have is to get on here and know the exact right thing to say, and that'll just make everyone go, aha, I got it, that's what I was missing, and then you can put it into place, and all of a sudden, boom, it all works. And the reality, though, is my experience, you don't need me to tell you that. For a lot of you, you kind of know what that is, or at least you have a vague idea of what that is, an impression of what that is, and the best thing that I can do is either give permission or courage to do it, to maybe motivate you to do it, or maybe give you a moment where you kind of have some clarity to give it that final tumblers that lock into place so that you know what to do. And so there's a couple things that I want to share with you guys tonight, and at the end I'll open up to questions and answers, and I'm happy to help do whatever I can specifically with your situations then, or you can hit me up on Facebook later, whatever you're more comfortable doing. So I was mentioning now the totality of the journey, okay, can be extremely overwhelming. I remember a couple examples of that. I remember when our kids were first born, my first son, I was so excited for this, but I was also very overwhelmed, right? I remember the day we came home from the hospital and I was like, I can't believe they're trusting me with this life. Like, I'm going to kill this thing. I can't even keep fish alive, and they're going to let me take a baby home, and wanting to be a perfect parent. Oh my gosh, all these things. And you guys know, those of you who are first parents or no first parents are kind of a unique breed of people. They're hyper vigilant, hyper sensitive, hyper everything. And by the time the second or third kid comes, it's just like, yeah, they're naked, whatever, they'll be fine. And so, and what that was for me was focusing on the next steps, learning to focus on the next steps. When you think about your business, that really is the key. If we get overwhelmed with the totality of the journey, we get paralyzed. We get so fixated on what's happening in the moment sometimes or what's not happening in the moment. We can lose perspective on things. Right now, I'm training for a marathon, the New York City Marathon. It's in like 4 or 5 weeks now. I've got a 20-mile run tomorrow, so this might be the last time anyone sees me. But a 20-mile run tomorrow. Training run. And the thing about training for a marathon, I want to actually use that analogy if I can for you guys. Those of you that have run marathons kind of get where I'm coming from on this. But you're supposed to start training for a marathon months and months out. It's not like you go one weekend and do a little bit of running and go, okay, I'm ready, right? It's lots of running. I've had a schedule right now where I've ran short runs between 4 to 8 miles during the week, and then I have a long run on the weekends. Usually on Saturday, depending on my travel schedule. Anywhere between 8 and now 21 miles will be my max that I'll do in a couple weeks before I get ready for the race. And in my experience, when race day comes, if you've prepared correctly, then when the race day comes, you have a really good experience. You've put in the work, you've put in the effort, and they use words like trust your training and things like that to be able to not get nervous before the race. And if you were to ask me, during training, what part of training is the most important? Well, I don't know. I don't know. But I know if I don't get my miles in, then I'm not going to be ready. I know if I don't get my steps in, I'm not going to be ready. I can't tell you which step out of the hundreds of thousands I will have taken in preparation to be the difference maker. But I know that in their totality, they're what made the difference. And all of them together is what made the difference for me. And when I run race, when we think about it like that, one of the things that's hard when you're doing this business, and for many of you doing something like this for the very first time, our human instincts, for many of you, crave predictability, they crave consistency, and they crave things that are those type of things that will give you comfort. And what you're finding is as your business is immature, as your business is young and developing, it can go through periods of volatility, okay? And that's tough. And I will tell you that it happens to everybody. I will tell you right now that it does in the beginning. And over time, it smooths out as you have more and more established and experienced people that are rowing the boat with you. It does stable out. But it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen right away, okay? And it never, ever happens as fast as you want it to. But I will tell you this, having done this now for a long time and been around lots of people who have gone through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, the roller coaster, like Darren Hardy calls it. When you get through this, and you will get through this, when you go through these phases and you keep going, what you'll look back and what you'll look back and know that matters most was I kept going. I kept fighting. I simplified, I kept things straight, and I kept going. And I don't know which moment it was when what thing I did that made things start to turn, but I know that in all those experiences, just like when I'm running, I don't know which step it was that was like the breaking point when my muscles now were ready and all that stuff was ready or my lungs were ready. But I know that the sum total of all those steps made me prepared. The sum total of all these experiences is how you earn the thing that you want with your business. And I want to give you that perspective. I want you to, one of the things that's a discipline, I think, that are an attribute that a business owner has to be able to do is they have to be able to simultaneously maintain a vision of the present as well as a vision of the future of where they want to go. And that's not common, you guys. Most people usually do one or the other, right? They're usually the ones that kind of live for the moment. They don't really think about what's coming down the road. And the other ones that are so fixated on what is going to come that they kind of forget to live in the moment and kind of pay attention to what's going on around them right then. Business owners don't have that luxury. The long-term vision is kind of like that North Star. It kind of keeps them guided and aligned to the direction that they want to go. But they also have to have a vision for the moment to deal with what's happening in the moment, to deal with what's happening right now in their business. And the funny thing about this is it's easy to understand but difficult to do. So right now, I guess one of the examples, so if I were working with you one-on-one, what I would do is this, to kind of talk about this. We would talk at least once a quarter about why you coach. Why do you still coach? What is it that we only do things consistently that have purpose to us? So why are we coaching? Why is it still relevant to us? Is that a why isn't something on word we do one time? It's dynamic. It evolves. It changes. It moves with us as our life experiences shift, as our perspectives shift. And so I'd want to know what that why is. What does that look like? And then I'd want to know, so the why, what that is, and what does that look like for you? That's kind of my long-term vision. That's the one that I'm aligning myself behind, where I look at my goals and the direction I'm pushing myself, and I make sure that I'm going in that direction. And then at the same time, I'm going to say, okay, what does the next 30 days look like? What are we going to do in the next 30 days? And the reason why I ask that question is because while we have to know what that long-term is, right now is we have to focus on controlling the things that we can control to push our business in the direction that will keep us in that path towards that goal. And the funny thing is, I think people are good at that towards the beginning of the year. And then towards the end of the year, it kind of starts to come up again, but a lot of people tend to kind of wane a little bit during the year. And I'm going to jump back to and I want to talk about that and kind of how we address that. I'm going to jump back into my marathon analogy. So this will be my 5th marathon that I've got coming up. And with the exception of the first one doesn't count. For those of you that heard that story when I made the wrong turn and all that stuff, that's a whole nother discussion. That one didn't count. But after that one, marathons 2, 3, and 4, what I found was the hardest part of the marathon for me was mile 18 and 19, especially mile 18. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. And I know it's going to happen to me again in 5 weeks. Like right now, I already know it's going to happen. I'm running and I hit mile 18 and I just want to go, F it, I'm done. Like, get me out of here. Like, I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I running? I can't believe I paid money to do this. Like, what kind of a moron? And I literally, in my brain, all my emotions just want to go, this is stupid. This is dumb. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to quit. I'm going to call my wife. I got my cell phone on my shoulder. I'll just call her. She'll come pick me up. We'll go home. No one will care about it anyway. Blah, blah, blah. And all these crazy emotions come. And honestly, when that moment arrives, and I know it's going to arrive, and even though I know it's going to happen, I know that in that moment, it's going to just feel like the most logical thing in the world to me. Yeah, I could easily explain it. I could justify it. I could feel perfectly rational in doing that, and it wouldn't feel like I was giving up on myself. It would feel like I just gave it my best shot, and maybe this time it just wasn't going to work out for me, and I'd have 100 different excuses for it, and I know it's going to happen. And the first time it happened to me, it scared the crap out of me because I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? Like, nah. And the only thing that got me through it was what got me through my first marathon, was I had a purpose for running that stupid race. And I was like, look, I'm doing this for this reason. This is why I had to kind of get to that why. I had to hold on to the purpose behind that race. And I had to just focus. And I know what it is. I know now looking back on it, I know it's because at that point for me, I've been running over 3 hours. That's a long time to be running. Okay. And I'm still not in the psychological threshold of being in the 20s yet. I'm still in the teens. So it feels like, oh my gosh, like I've been running forever and I'm not even in the 20s yet. I mean, this is horrible. Something happens when you get to mile 20. You're like, oh, all right, 20s. All right. We're almost there. Like I've run a long way. But that's what happens to me. I know that. I understand that. But in that moment of decision, I'm not thinking clearly. And so I've established rules for myself, which is every time I run a race, I have a purpose behind it. And it has to be something that matters to me. And it has to be personal to me. And I have a personal one for this race right now, and it deals with my 10-year-old son who's going through some self-esteem issues and other stuff like that. And I want him to see his dad do hard things, and I'm kind of talking through him with it. And it's a meaningful thing to me right now that I've attached to this race. And every time I don't want to go train, or every time things are a little bit tough, I think about what that is and I go. And I promise you right now, it's already loaded and programmed in my brain that when mile 18 craziness hits me, I'm going to just focus on that. And that's all I'm going to do while I eat a granola bar. That's another thing I do is I give myself a treat at mile 18, which is a granola bar. And so that's how I'm going to get through mile 18. So what does that have to do with you guys? So typically at this time of the year, I've got two kinds of people. I've got the pushers and the pausers is what I call them. The pushers are the people who have kind of pushed really hard all year. They're the ones that are like, oh my gosh. And mile 18 for them feels exhausting. They're looking at it going, oh my gosh, I pushed so hard and I made some progress, but it's not where I want to be in. You know, it's ups and downs and here's and that. And honestly, what all that is talking is emotional fatigue. You're emotionally fatigued. You're tired. I get it. It's mile 18. Okay? It's mile 18. I get it. Then I have the pausers. The pausers are the ones who kind of maybe started the year strong, but then it kind of waned a little bit through the middle of the year. And now they're trying to get back into it again, but they're like, oh my gosh, like it dropped and things are hard and I don't know if I could, And it's that same feeling of, man, like I don't know if I've got it in me to jump back into this thing right now. I'll just wait till January. Regardless of who you are, one common thing is that why. Why do you coach? What does success look like for you in this? Have you let that why grow stale and old and irrelevant to you? Or is it vibrant and alive and powerful? Now, while that's a common thing, now it's a point where we start to diverge a little bit. For the pushers, what you have to do now is, once that why is clear, then I'm going to go, okay, what's the goal that I'm doing in the next 30 days? Guys, you only have, 3 30-day increments left in the rest of the year? Okay? Only 3. Okay? What am I going to do in these next 30 days? I'm not going to think about the end. I'm not going to think about the previous. Right now, what am I going to do in these next 30 days? And what you're trying to do for my pushers is you're trying to make sure that you're clarifying your focus and your priorities. Chances are, if you're a pusher at this point, part of the emotional fatigue that you're feeling is you put on way too much baggage on your business. You've overcomplicated things too much. You need to shed some stuff. You need to get down to those basics again and say, what are the core things that I need to be doing to reach this next 30-day goal? And for the pushers, I want you to give yourself a granola bar. And what I mean by that is some kind of a treat. You got to figure out some kind of a treat you're going to give yourself at this time to kind of celebrate the fact that you've gone through this. Whatever that granola bar might be. Maybe it's something you buy for yourself. Maybe it's an indulgence you let yourself have. I don't know. Maybe you add 3 extra yellows one day to your portion figure. I don't care. Do something to give yourself a little bit of a treat, whatever it happens to be, but allow that to be a little bit of a reward for you in doing that. Okay? I'm still talking to my pushers here. As you strip away some of those pieces that have become overcomplicated to free up some of this baggage off your shoulders, now we've got to go into our choices. And we've got to look at our choices and make sure that the choices that we're making are aligned to the direction that we want to go. And I'm going to talk about choices in 2 matters. Choices as far as the actions that we engage in and the beliefs that we are allowing ourselves to foster and to maintain in our minds. The pushers, when they come into this right now, the actions might be overcomplicated. The actions might be trying to do too much. The actions might start to feel desperate and heavy and, oh my gosh, and almost like I'm about ready to just fall over dead. And all of that, you guys, is probably because you're doing more than you need to, okay? So recenter yourself back on that. Look at those actions. On the belief side of things, for my pushers, when you're exhausted mentally sometimes, you're going to be like me in mile 18. When you're going to be thinking irrational, stupid thoughts, okay? I don't think I can do this. Oh my gosh, so-and-so is this. And oh, look at the volume. It's going over here. And this person quit. And I'm not good at this business. And all of a sudden you start internalizing decisions that other people make and taking responsibility for their decisions. You start absorbing all of these things. And then you start allowing your mind to harbor thoughts that are completely, first of all, lies that you're probably telling yourself, okay? Maybe as a way to kind of bring comfort against things that are uncomfortable for you, or to try to justify or feel rationalize some things that have happened that you don't really like, or I don't know what it is, okay? But you indulge in these thoughts now because you're tired, you're emotionally fatigued and all of this, okay? And I get that. But guys, this is where the growth is. For my pushers, this is where the growth is. You say you want to have a successful business. You say you got what it takes. You say you want to do it. It's mile 18, baby. It's easy to start. It's mile 18. You got to finish. You got to push through. You got to do it because then you can show yourself that you can. You got to do it because the next year you'll go through and you'll be stronger. You got to do it because that's how you build trust in yourself. That's how you know that you can trust yourself, that you can stick to this stuff. Okay? And so some of those rules, again, are don't take responsibility for the decisions other people make. Stop that. Get that crap out of your mind. It's not on you, okay? Take you out of your business in that sense, okay? Second thing, simplify, clarify. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Live in those 30-day increments and focus on the basics. These are my pushers I'm talking about right now, okay? And again, make sure that why matters to you. And don't give up. Don't stop. Don't throw in the towel. Don't start indulging in dumb thoughts of mental fatigue. Just trust me. Now I'm going to go to my pausers. My pausers, you guys know who you are. And honestly, we're all pausers at one time of our life in one way or another in the business. And if you're a pusher this year, you might be a pauser next year. So pay attention, all right? Hopefully you're never pausers, but pausers happen, okay? So what do we do for pausers? Again, the why is the same. That first part's the same because if we don't have the purpose, it's not going to matter to us. But the second part now is you've got to recognize the fact that we have some unaligned habits that we've got to change, that we've got to get back in the saddle doing. And so expecting it to just kind of feel easy and natural again, it's not going to happen at first. You've got to take that expectation off your mind. You've got to clarify again, what's my goals? But then your thing is to really focus on what are those controllable actions that I can do, and then the discipline to make sure that you do those things right now. Okay, you have to really get clear on what your power hour is, what you're going to be doing again, and set the expectation is I've got to bring consistency into my business. When I say consistency, it's a really easy definition for me: hard work and patience. And if you're my pausers, that's kind of what your mantra is going to be for like, so well, hard work and patience. Hard work to do this, patience to let things get traction. In this type of a business, success always lags behind the work done to achieve it. And so what you're doing right now is not going to give you results in the next week or 2 weeks, maybe a little bit, but it's not going to give you the results you're looking for. The work you're doing right now will give you results 30, 60, 90 days from now. And what you have to do is get that flywheel, get that thing in motion back again so your business is going to be doing that. That's the way this kind of a business works. That's one of the reasons why when you stop doing it, it takes a little while to unwind. And that's why when you start building it, it takes a little while to spin back up again. And so you've got to get that expectation in your mind and have the discipline to continue to do that, even in the face of maybe results that aren't happening right away, knowing that, again, that compound effect, those of you who have read that book, that was building up and that will then yield results. That will yield results for us down the road. That's where that self-discipline comes into play. And that's where the choices come into play for my pausers, okay? The biggest thing I'll tell with pausers right now is you have to take whatever happened before off your shoulders too. You can't be like, man, I can't believe I did this or I did this and I left. Yeah, great. That happened. Sorry. I mean, can't do anything about it right now. Let's learn about it. But right now, let's get this. Let's focus on the moment. Okay. Let's focus on the moment. And guys, the funny thing about all of this, in my experience, whether you're a pusher, whether you're a pauser, is it's all giving you experience. It's all going to make you better. When I'm working with coaches, I talk to them about staying on the path. Okay. Let me tell you about what I mean by the path. When you made a decision to coach with Beachbody, okay, you kind of got on this path, and the path is it's a solid, stable, growing company. It's got an amazing brand recognition that you can partner with. It's got a proven track record through the compensation plan. It's got a proven track record through other people having success. The path works. That doesn't mean the path is perfect. It doesn't mean there's not rocks in it and other pieces like that and debris that you have to navigate. But the path is a good path. And as you walk down that path, sometimes you're going to be running. Sometimes you're going to be going, and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. This is easy. It's like kind of running downhill. It's all part of the marathon when you kind of get those moments when it's not that hard downhill that hurt your knees, but just that gradual downhill. And you're flying and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this. This feels so easy. Why can't it all be like this, right? But then there's also sometimes when you feel like you're just crawling, right? Or those parts in a marathon when you've been running for who knows how long, and all of a sudden you see a hill in front of you, and you're like, holy crap. And whenever I hit those hills in a marathon, my strategy is real simple. I look down 3 feet in front of me in the road. I never look up until I'm up that hill. I don't want to think farther than 3 feet in front of me, because that's all emotionally right now that I can handle. But I know this. If I do that, as long as I keep going down that road, I know where that road ends. I know where that road leads. It'll lead me to the finish line. It'll lead me to my goal. As long as you stay on that path, the moments when you're running, cherish them and enjoy them, because they're awesome. And the moments when you're crawling, you put your head down, you focus, and cherish those moments, because that's when you're learning. You're not learning when you're running downhill. You're learning when you're running uphill. And so learn to see the value and the progress in those moments for yourself. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll open up to questions and answers, is I'm going to share something with you. So last week I was at a retreat, and I was talking with some coaches, and it seemed like there was kind of a theme that was coming through, and it's been on my mind a lot. And the theme that I saw quite a bit with all the coaches that I talked to was this feeling of, I guess, this feeling of acting through I guess their decisions being driven by fear instead of their decisions being driven by optimism, by sense of opportunity, by belief in themselves. And when I would talk to people, they would express it in a variety of different ways to me. Some would act like it was this, this very selfless thing and this noble thing, and it's about this, and my business is, it's I'm just letting it do this, and I don't want to be pushing it, and I don't want to do this. It's not about this, and it's just about, I just want to just let it just happen and see what goes on. And then I have the ones that were just like, I'm horrible at this. I'm a terrible person. I don't, I feel like I can't. And then you'd have everyone in between. And here's kind of where I've netted out on that. I don't know why. I think in my experience here, I've been here for 2 years, Beachbody attracts some of the best people I've ever met. I mean, honestly, you guys are freaking world-class people. I mean, just amazing, amazing people. You are people who are dedicated, committed. You are just good, honest, high integrity, hardworking people, and you set yourself apart because you've been willing to make a decision to take control of your life. When most people are willing to just let it happen, you're saying, no, I'm going to do something to take control. And that's not easy. That's not easy. And sometimes the weight of that can kind of beat down on you. Sometimes the reality of growth, of developing yourself, sometimes the weight of that can just be smothering. And in that moment, the temptation is to feel like it's a good idea or it's safe for me to kind of just wrap up in a little cocoon and play small. Because when I put myself out there and I try to dream and push myself big and all that growth happens, there's pain, there's failure, there's frustration, there's uncertainty. And if I just kind of curl back up in this little shell, there's safety there. There's not. There's no honor in playing small, you guys, and denying the gifts that the man upstairs gave you. The things that you know, there's no honor in that. That's not why you're here. There's no safety in that either. There's no safety in playing small. Look, guys, there's risk either way. You just choose the risk. In my opinion, the greater risk is living a life where you look back and you're like, man, when the going got tough, I got going. I left. I stopped, right? There's no safety in that. I mean, I love this quote by Naismith. She's an author, right? And she's describing one of the characters in this book she wrote. And she says this. She goes, and the day came that the risk to remain all tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. There's risk either way. Choose the risk that has growth. Choose the risk that allows you to see your potential. Choose the risk that allows you to discover the best of who you are. Okay? there's no, I guess, don't play small. And as I was thinking about this, I thought about my wife. If I can tell you a little story to close, this is my custom. I'm very lucky to have married way out of my league, and I'm totally comfortable saying that. I mean, I don't know how she feels, but I won, and I'm totally good with that. I mean, I'm fine. I don't know what she feels like, but I'm good. And the first time that I ever saw my wife, we were both missionaries in Spain. And I remember she walked into a room, and I looked at her, and I was like, that might be the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And instantly, one of my weaknesses, I guess, is also self-esteem, like some of you that are in here, and especially acute coming out of my teenage years. And I remember seeing her and admiring her from afar, but going to myself, man, like girls like that don't hang out with good dudes like me. You know, she's kind of like the New York Yankees. I'm like the high school sophomore team, right? That's just kind of like the distinction there. And while we were missionaries, we got to know each other a little bit. In fact, towards the end of the time that we were in Spain, we got to be pretty good friends. And honestly, I remember just being like, it was a source of like confidence to me that I was her friend, that we could hang out and she knew my name and she would talk with me. And as dumb as that sounds, I relished in that. Well, we came back from Spain. My wife actually came back a few months before I did, and we stayed in contact a little bit. And I came home, and I was talking to my friend one day, and he was really mad at me because he wanted me to go on a double date with him on the weekend, and I didn't know any girls right then. I didn't want to mess with it. He was getting pissed off at me because he didn't want to go by himself. And finally, after him beating me up about it for about 15 minutes, I was just like, whatever. And I started telling him a story that I remembered from Spain or whatever. And I said, let me show you a picture. I went and got my photo album out. This was before cell phones and everything was on your cell phone, right? I went and got my photo album out. And I was like, I'm going to show you this picture. And I came across, and I was flipping through the page. And as I was turning a page, I'll never forget, I'm sitting there looking at it. And all of a sudden his finger just shoots right across my face. And he points at a page in the book. And I peel it back. And he's pointing at this picture right here. Those of you can see this. And he goes, who is that? And when can I meet her? And I said, that's Katie Thompson. And he kind of considered himself a little bit of a womanizer. And I said, and actually, you know what? There's a little get together of the friends of the people that were over there as missionaries on Wednesday. And this was a Monday. On Wednesday or Thursday, I think it was. Anyway, a couple days away. And she'll probably be there. And then he punches me in the arm. And he was like, you freaking idiot. Why don't you just ask her on a date? I'm like, whoa, buddy, slow your roll. I was like, girls like that don't go on dates with dudes like me. I said, like, she's from North Hollywood. She's beautiful. She's got all this stuff. And if I start interjecting the, hey, let's go on a date thing, then maybe she'll be like, oh no, this kid's getting weird. I don't want to be his friend anymore. What? It's just like, I don't want to mess up what I've got with her, the friend thing. Let's just not. And then he was looking at me. He's like, dude, you're such a wuss. He didn't say wuss, but he said something else. It's kind of like wuss. And I was like, I looked at him and I go, dude, you just don't get it. And then he looked at me and he said this. He goes, if you don't ask her out, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And at the time I was like, yeah, I know he's just trying to get me to ask her out, whatever. So then we went on, we did some other things. Well, the day came, I went to this little get together. And I was thinking about, should I ask her on the stage? Should I not? I don't know. And she comes in and I see her from across the room. She's over there and I just get so nervous. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And we kind of made eye contact and she made her way over to me and we just started talking. And we talked for probably almost 2 hours, just sitting there, just us just talking. And I was like loving every minute. I'm like, she's beautiful. She's talking to me. She's like, and in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, I got to ask her. I'm going to ask her. And I was like, no, I can't, dude. Girls like that don't date guys like you. Girls like that don't date guys like you. You don't mess it up. And so we're talking. It kind of gets towards the end. And literally, we've spent the whole time, just the two of us talking. And so she kind of gets up and we give a little like friend hug, like, and she says goodbye and she starts to walk away. And the thought comes to my mind. I hear Sam saying, if you don't ask her out, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And so unsmoothly, I just blurted out, I'm like, what are you doing Saturday? And she turned around, and I was like, do you want to go on the date Saturday night? And then all of a sudden, as it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh no, what have you done? And I start backpedaling like right away. I was like, I know you're busy. I know you've got stuff with your friends. It's no big deal. She had told me how she was going to go water ballooning or something with her friends. I'm like, no, it's okay. You can go do that. And she goes, yeah, I'd like to go. And I'm like, no, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. She goes, no, Kim, really, that would be fun. And I was like, no, it's okay. Seriously, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And she said, Kim, no, I want to go. And then finally something in my mind was like, hey, dipshiz, shut up. She just said yes. Just don't say anything, like close your yapper. And so I'm like, And I said, okay. And we went on that date, and she held my hand. I didn't hold hers because I was too big of a chicken. She grabbed my hand. She kind of had to lead most of the first couple days. That's my wife. She just kind of, and about 7 months later, we were married. The reason why I think about that story a lot, why I've thought about it, was in my life, there's not been a bigger blessing to me than her. She makes marriage easy. I've got 4 wonderful children. I've got, guys like me don't deserve to have the kind of life that I have, and it's in large part because of her. And I almost missed it. Because I didn't have the courage to believe in myself, and in some reason thinking that playing small was the right thing to do, was the noble thing to do, was the honest thing to do, was the best thing to do, instead of trying to blossom. And I'm grateful that my friend kind of made me blossom just a little bit, or I would have missed it. And I can't imagine what my life would be like had that happen. There's risk either way. You've got to just make the choice to see progress in the process, to see growth, even if it's hard to see it. And whether you're a pusher or you're a pauser, you're still on the same path. You got to just keep going. So what does that look like for you then? Coming out of this call, what does that look like? If you're a pusher or a pauser, I kind of gave you the framework. What are you going to do with it now? Are you going to retreat and pretend like playing small is okay? Or are you going to choose to believe a little bit? Are you going to chance? Are you going to bet on yourself a little bit more? Are you going to see what that potential is a little bit more? Can you do it for 90 days? Can you do it through the end of the year? Put together a push through the end of the year and see where you end up. I promise you, you'll like it. I promise you, at the very end, the value that you'll gain, the growth from your business will be there, but the value in the process will be invaluable to you guys. It's been a pleasure for me to be with you guys here tonight. I will open up if you have any questions, things you want to talk through. I'm here. Or you can hit me up on Facebook, whatever you want.
That was like amazing. I feel like we all need to give you like a standing ovation. It's like
no need for standing ovation. If I can help, that's all we care about, guys. I know it's not easy.
It's not. And okay. Like seriously, every time that I hear you speak, it just always leaves me totally speechless because it's like so inspiring. And like you have just the most amazing stories to get the point across, to really hit home to all of us. And I really liked a couple of things here just before I turn it over to some questions if anybody has any. But I really liked how you said there's no honor in playing small. That was awesome. And choose the risk that allows growth. And one of the things that I remember you showing us and talking about at our diamond retreat that we had back in May was, I remember at the end of it, you showed the picture of, your beautiful children and your wife. And I just remember that. And I remember you saying, like, if you had seen that picture, if you could have shown that picture to you when you were on that journey and on that race, it would have been so much easier. But you have to keep going because that is what's at the end of it. And I just loved how you did that. I wouldn't
have valued it. I wouldn't have valued it because I wouldn't have earned it. And that's the funny thing about it. We think that we would have valued, we think about having a successful business and how much you would appreciate and value it. But guys, you wouldn't. You only would value it if you had to go through the work and the energy and the sacrifice to own it and to earn that. The things of greatest value in our life, you guys, are never handed to us. And for us to expect that they will be is to set ourselves up for failure. They're never just handed to you. You've got to win them. You've got to earn them, and you've got to re-win them all the time. And it's not. Is it work? Yeah. Is it sacrifice? You bet. But sacrifice is only a negative thing when it doesn't have a purpose. When it has a purpose behind it, it's a beautiful thing. It's what causes us to do things that are amazing, okay, with our lives. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Kathy, but you get me talking about that story, and I'll spend all night long.
No, that is awesome. No, it's so true, though. It's like, the journey, like we're all on the same path. And like you said, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be awesome, exciting times. And then there's going to be some really tough times. But if your purpose is really grounded, it is what keeps you going. And you're willing to make the sacrifices and you're willing to put in the work and work hard for it because it's all worth it, guys. It's all worth it. And
isn't that what we teach other people, whether our challengers or our coaches? Yep. They come to us with that and they struggle with that. And that's what we teach them.
Right.
And when we go through it, it just makes us infinitely more credible and capable of helping other people. And that's what our business is built on, is helping other people.
Yeah, it's so true. It's exactly like that. When we get a brand new challenger and they're looking to lose 50 pounds, we tell them right up front, you can do this. You just have to take it day by day. Be patient. It's going to take time. And you slowly start seeing the results. You don't lose a pant size in one day. You don't drop 10 pounds in 2 days. It happens over time. And it's the same exact thing with building a business.
And you might even maybe mess up and you gain a few pounds.
Right.
It's all right. You got it again. All right.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, we got an anecdote as far as we can take it, Kathy.
I know. We can just keep going all night. I seriously do appreciate you so much. You've helped me and the team so much. We're so appreciative for your time, and you're so inspiring. It's out of control.
Keep going, guys. You got this.
Yeah, we got this, guys. Does anybody do you mind if we just have like 2 questions, maybe 3?
Yeah, that's fine. And if anyone has anything that doesn't get answered or they don't feel comfortable bringing it out, you can just message me on Facebook. I usually respond fairly quickly. If I don't, just keep pinging me and I will see it.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Kim while we have him about anything? Unmute yourself in the chat box, whatever. Save them for later, I guess. Okay. Well,
I have this paralyzing effect on groups, so I can...
You do, exactly. I mean, I know me. I'm like, whoa. But anyways, all right. Well, I won't keep you then, Kim. And guys, thank you so much for being here. And Kim, I cannot thank you again.
My pleasure, guys.
Yes, this is exactly what the team needed. And you're a true inspiration. And we just can't thank you enough.
Keep going. You got this.
Well, all right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks so much again.
You guys take care. Okay, bye now.